Hello everyone, it's Lori Bradley and I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm here for Lunch with Lori, our free weekly online class. Before we get started with that, I have two exciting things to tell you about. First of all, there's a sale that started this morning and it is the two-tone cardstock and it's the 12 by 12 and all the colors. We have every color that we have. And it is 20% off. So instead of $10 for a package of 12 sheets, it's $8. So it's a sweet deal right now. It's not just for scrapbooking. I know a lot of 12 by 12 paper people use for scrapbooking, but it is great for scrapbooking. It's lightweight, it's great for pages, but it's also good for card makers. It has a white core, so you can emboss it and then sand it to give a little bit of a texture, a little bit of a color difference. Make it look a little vintage if you want. You can tear it so that your edge has a white edge, or you can even just fold a corner of it down so that you can see both colors, both shades of the same color. I did do a Lunch with Lori a few weeks ago. It's probably been a month or two ago, where we use two-tone cardstock. So you can look for that. You can just search two-tone cardstock if you're watching on YouTube. The other item is that I am partnering with my friend Sue at Sue's Paper Creations in Canada, and we are having a virtual card kit and bingo day on Saturday, July 26th. I will post the information in the comments, and you simply just have to order the birthday fancy card kit on my website and fill out the registration form, and we'll take care of the rest. So it'll be a fun, it's gonna be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, noon Central Standard Time here in St. Louis, so on July 26th. So let's get going. Today's class is based on scraps because I know everybody has them. And I just talked to my friend Sue, and she just finished 60 cards based on scraps that she had from some of her classes. So we're going to use some cardstock scraps for 2 cards. And then we're going to use some designer series paper, and I literally am going to show you my designer series paper package because it is, you'll laugh and you'll be like, that's a lot of scraps. So let's get going. Let's make some cards and have a little fun. Normally I have everything embossed beforehand. I don't necessarily have it embossed. There's a couple of things I need to emboss today while you're with me because I want to show you the scraps. Let me get my computer set up here just to make sure there we go. All right, so I can see any comments. All right, the first card, I had a whole bunch of scraps. I posted a picture yesterday of my scrap pile, and I had several pieces that were the same size. I am not sure what I cut beforehand, what my project was, but we're going to make a really fun card that looks like this, and we're going to emboss these pieces with the Pressed Flowers Embossing Folder. So I'm going to show you the embossing folder, and it looks just like this. Let's see, let me put there, maybe you can see that a little bit better. We're going to just put our pieces into the embossing folder, and I don't want to put them all at the same height. I want them to be all a little bit different because I want my pieces to look different. I'm just going to place those in there. That's our first order of business. I think I'm going to have to, let's see, can I get them all at one time? Let's see. I think maybe we can even overlap a little bit. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to close that up. My embossing machine is right behind me, so bear with me for just a second. I'm going to leave this card here so you can see what we're doing. I'm just going to emboss this really quick while I do that. Think about all the things. Okay. So I've got my embossed pieces. Sorry, or I don't like to put that underneath my camera. So I've got 5 pieces, and they're all a little bit different. Embossing folder. So what we're going to do, actually, I know what the problem is. These are a little bit wider than my other pieces that I had. So maybe we're gonna have to overlap a little more, we'll see. All right, so what we're gonna do, there's no right or wrong. And actually, this one I did cattywampus. Maybe we can just glue these straight on. Instead of crooked so that they'll all fit. No, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna trim these down. I want them to be 1 inch. So we're not gonna waste nearly as much paper as we would have otherwise. So instead of this whole piece being a scrap, I just got 1/4 of an inch. Sorry, I didn't realize those were not 1 inch. 1 inch fits very nicely. So these were 1 by 3, in case you're wondering. 1 by 3. And that way they fit very nicely. And again, I'm not necessarily worried about where the pattern of the embossing folder is, because we want it to all be different. And then we should have a green one here. Where did it go? There it is. All right, sorry about that. That's the only thing we have to cut here right now. Now, these will fit so much better. There's no right or wrong, and I literally just pulled these 5 colors out. Just make sure all your patterns are going embossed side up. All right, and we're just gonna lay those on there and glue them down. I am going to use liquid glue, and I'm gonna start on one end. And again, there's no right or wrong. We're just gonna lay those on there. We're gonna try to center it in the middle of our piece, but if it doesn't happen, it's okay. There is, like I said, no right or wrong. We've got these fun embossed pieces. Let's see, let's go a little straight. We'll go a little, I'm gonna go ahead and put my glue on all of these so I'm ready. Just lay those on there. So you're embossing, I'm gonna slide this one under, I think. And then our last one. I used the liquid glue so I could scoot those around a little bit. All right. So we've got our pieces. They're all sort of cattywampus. This one's a little bit different. Actually, this is a different green. This is Shy Shamrock, and this is Summer Splash. So that might come into play here in just a second, because I got a Summer Splash panel that was also a scrap, but I think, you know what? I think we're just gonna go with it. I think it's, nobody's gonna notice except for us. So don't tell anybody. All right, so I'm just gonna glue these panels together. So 1 by 3, it's a pretty common dimension that we end up with when we cut things. My most common one is a 1/2 inch strip that's down the edges of the cardstock when I cut a panel. When I cut a 4 by 5 1/4 panel, then there's a 1/2 inch strip down the side, and we're gonna use some of those in just a minute also. And sometimes you wonder, what in the world am I going to do with these? So I'm gonna show you today. All right, so I just found, I had a petunia pop card base. I just went ahead and cut that. I literally just grabbed from my basket of cardstock that was just in a pile. So I'm sure you probably all have those. If you have one of those, let me know what you use your scraps for. I would love to know. Okay, so now I've got that. And then, you know, I always have extra little die cuts for words, usually from the Stylish Shapes, and yep, this one is also from there. So I'm going to stamp in Summer Splash ink, so hopefully it looks okay. I have a thinking of you, and that is from the Beautiful Motifs stamp set. Just a quick thinking of you. I thought the bright colors were a great thinking of you type sentiment. And put that right in the middle. Just like that. Then use the white ribbon. White ribbon is so versatile. There isn't any 2024 to 26 in color ribbon anymore. So we're just going to use white. You could color this with blends if you want to. I'm not going to take the time to do that because I really want it to kind of stand out on the colored strips. And I'm going to just tape it on the back. Just like that. Just kind of a little squiggle. It's not a real bow, just a squiggle. Use the Scotch tape. Tape that down. Hopefully I didn't get it too wide. If I did, I might have to cut it a little bit. Nope, I think I got it. All right, so I've got my ribbon. Trim those edges just a little bit. And then because that ribbon is kind of thick, let me put this ink away before we go any farther because we'll make a mess. I'm just going to use dimensionals, one on each end. Use a cut one for this side. Actually, I might need one right in the middle to support that ribbon so that it doesn't go up and down. So this could be anything. This could be 4 or 5 different pieces of designer series paper. It could be just colored cardstock. We could have glued those down and then run it through the embossing folder. It can be, you know, I just put the pieces in the embossing folder and ran it through. I am going to embellish it with some 2024, 26. Let's use Petunia Pop gems for this one. The new flat pearls for both in color families are really pretty. For this one, I used the Summer Splash, but I don't want to call attention to the fact that I didn't use Summer Splash on this piece because I didn't actually realize. I just, like I said, grabbed scraps. So we're going to just use some dots, and the Petunia Pop goes perfectly with our scraps. Let's just go right here. All right, so there's card 1. Super simple. I got rid of some scraps. Makes me happy. A little bit different, but basically the same. Okay, so there's card 1. Card 2, I'm going to use my designer series paper scraps. I'm going to show you this package of designer series paper, and you'll probably laugh. There are some scraps in this package, right? A whole bunch of scraps. I've got pieces that are, oh goodness, they're 2 by 4, but I'm not using those. I'm gonna pull out these. These are, let's see, 1.5 by 4. This could be any size, but I was like, ooh, the 4-inch. So I'm gonna take 3 of those. So I've already used 3. I'm gonna use 3 more. And then, actually, I knew these were in here. This is Peach Pie and Calypso Coral, so that coordinates. I'm gonna use that as well. But literally, the whole package is a whole bunch of scraps. There's only 3 pieces of whole cardstock in this, and I am bound and determined to use it all. So hopefully you can take a little inspiration from this and use yours as well. Okay, now we have 3 pieces of the sort of backgroundy looking. There's also the background in this color. We could have used, if I had chosen a different, let's see. No, I think I'm going to keep it the orange the same. Sometimes I get myself all worked up and change my mind, but I'm not this time. You will know if you've watched more than one of my videos that I do like to cut designer series paper in 3 by 4. Like when I do a strip and it's 3 by 4, so I get 3 in a row and 4 across, so I get 12 per sheet, and sometimes you just have extras. So I have my 4 by 5 1/4 white panel. We're going to just glue these strips onto our white panel. And if they're not quite the same, sometimes that happens, just flip it over and trim it from the back side. So, oop, it's a little long. That's okay. That's okay. It's our scraps. Remember, we are, that's how we're rolling. So I'm gonna put adhesive. I'm gonna use my liquid glue, and I'm gonna start with the middle. I'm just gonna go ahead and glue it right in the middle. Just like that. I'm eyeballing it to see where it's actually in the middle. So if it's not exactly perfect, that's okay. Hopefully nobody will notice. And then I'm gonna do the same with the other 2 pieces. I'm just gonna leave a little bit of space between. And the spacing doesn't matter. You can do it as much as you want. If you want all of your spaces to be the same, like from here and here, then that's great. And the grid lines actually can help you with that if you want to line things up properly. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Ooh, hi Robin. Good to see you today. All right, and then let's do the same thing over here, which is, I was pretty close to center. I might have been a little bit off. All right, but this is a great way. This could be any color. Typically, I would probably do a backgroundy sort of look for those. And I'm just gonna take my paper snips. Oh, sad news. These are the best paper snips in the whole world, and the supplier that Stampin' Up! Uses has stopped making these. So if you have a pair of these, hang on to them with your life. They are working on a new source, so hopefully they will get a new source that's just as great. But even one of my kids loves this pair of scissors, so hopefully and they're sold out. Once demonstrators found, and regular customers found out that they were going away, they disappeared in literally like 5 minutes. Okay, now I'm gonna be simple. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna glue that right in the center. So we've got a background that looks a little bit stripy, and we're just gonna glue our focal point, which is the floral one, right in the middle. Just like that. A lot of times I like to put a mat around my panel, but we're not gonna do that today. I'm just gonna leave it as is so that that ends on the edge. I've got a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of peach pie cardstock, which matches the peach pie and Calypso coral on our designer series paper. Just like that. So then we just need a sentiment. I pulled out, this one just says for you, which means it can be for, any occasion, and it's from the tags of thanks. The thank you is a little bit big for the tag that I wanted to use, so I just pulled out the for you. I'm gonna use Calypso Coral ink. I'm gonna stamp that. Just stand up to make sure I've got it straight because the F and the Y are a little bit angled. And this die cut is the Nested Essentials, so it's not my usual stylish shapes. So you can be surprised, but it's also another great one. I've got that. We're gonna do another little ribbon. Let's tie a bow in the corner this time. Hopefully I can make that work. Oh, my ribbon on the back side. Sometimes backwards is my problem, I think. Hopefully you can't see my nails fully because they're very bad today. I have an appointment to get those fixed tomorrow, so hopefully my next video they won't look quite so yucky. It's been a rough 2 weeks. Okay. I can't get a hold of it. There we go. All right, just a tiny little bow. I'm gonna put that right there in the corner of that piece. I'm just gonna use a glue dot, trying to get my loops about the same. just gonna take a glue dot. If you haven't used the glue dots, it's very simple. You just unroll it. You can just touch your bow to it, or you can peel it off if you need. If my bow and my center of my bow is a little smaller, so I'm just gonna put my glue dot. I rolled it up just like that, and I'm gonna put that on the corner of my sentiment. So it's not in the words, but it's just a little embellishment on the corner. And then I'll put that on with a couple of dimensionals right on the front. This is not the important part. The important part is how we use these scraps. This could be, like I said, any color, whatever you have handy, whatever works in with your scrap pile. Trim this off. Since I messed with it, it's a little bit. There we go. All right, and then these pearls, these flat pearls will continue to work because I've got peach pie ones. Since these were the 24, you know what, I'm gonna use a middle size one. I'm just gonna put it right here and just use one for this one. So this could be a birthday, it could be a thinking of you, it could be whatever occasion that you want. All right, so there's scrap number 2. There's my original sample. All right, then last one is another cardstock strip, and that's where I took my my 1/2-inch strips. I had a whole bunch of them. Some of them were longer. These were actually originally 1/2-inch strips. They looked like this, and that's the edging after I cut a 4x5 panel. It's the actual extra edge. Of course, that would be white, but you get the idea. But those are they're too wide for what I want them to do. So I took each of the strips and I just cut it at 1/4 of an inch. So now I have these 1/4 inch strips that I'm gonna glue on. Colors don't matter. I just went with the ones that I had, and I think they worked pretty well. I thought I had a pink one too, but I'm not sure. I must have used it already. All right, so I'm going to take my white panel and I'm gonna glue those on. But before I do, this is gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna have to use my embossing folder, or we're gonna die cut after we get this glued on. But before I do that, let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment down in the corner. And this one is from Pattern of Friendship, and it's just a thinking of you brings a smile to my face. And these bright colors, I felt like were kind of smiley. So I'm gonna stamp that in Berry Burst. Berry Burst just is one of the colors that I used here. Let's see, you know what? I don't have a panel to put those on, so we might have to cut one of those. All right, I'm just gonna put it right down here in this corner. Exact location doesn't necessarily matter. If I was not nervous, I would stamp it after I finished, but safety first. Okay, you know what, let me grab a piece of Berry Burst cardstock. It is right here, so I can cut that. Okay, so we're gonna glue these 6 1/4 inch strips onto the side of our white panel. Just like that. I just put some liquid glue, and I'm gonna start, the order doesn't matter. I'm just gonna start at the edge, although I need a little bit more ink along the edge. Since they're so narrow, I wouldn't try to put the regular tape adhesive because it would get all over your fingers, and nobody wants that. All right, so we're just gonna go along the edge of our cardstock. Since I cut the 1/2 inch strips in half, these are actually 5.5 inches long instead of 5 1/4. So they're gonna be a little bit long also. And so I'm just starting even at one end. I missed that one. I'm gonna start even all of them at the edge of that white panel, and then go down the line, okay? And if we have to cut a little bit, we will. Oh, that's why I don't have the light blue one, because it's not the right size. I knew there was a reason. Need a little bit more glue. So these could be whatever color makes you happy, or whatever color strips you have. It'd be great if it was black and white and gray. It would be pretty if it was regal colors, bright colors, different shades of blue, different shades of pink, whatever kind of scraps you have. But I literally just took those 1/2 inch strips that were from when I made card panels. Sometimes I wonder what to do with those. And we're gonna glue those on. Okay. All right, I'll flip it over. And I'm gonna go ahead and just trim these off. Just like that. Okay. Now, let me see. Do I need a 5th one? 6th one? Ooh, I kind of do. Let's see. I need one more strip. I didn't realize the blue one wasn't quite long enough. Oh, you know what? We'll make it long enough. We will make it long enough. We're just gonna trim things down. When things don't work, that's what we do. Okay. I am gonna put the liquid glue right on this one so I don't go over. You're wondering, what in the world is why does she need 6? I will show you. Okay. So let's start it. I'm gonna start this one at the bottom because I'm gonna trim from the top. There we go. Okay. Goodness. Now, prepare to be dazzled. This will be the fun part. I'm gonna just trim it right where that, actually that makes it at 5, so that's perfect. All right, so we've got 5. So I need to make this one 3 3/4 just to make sure that our panel is appropriate size, and then we'll make this one 4 by 5 1/4. All right, sometimes you gotta change your mind midstream, right? Okay, now we could just glue this on and be really cute, but guess what? We're not gonna do that. We are going to take the square Stylish Shapes die, and I just chose the size, and we're gonna put it right on there where the point is at the top and the bottom, right at the edge of that line. I will say I got this from a non-Stampin' Up person. I saw it on Pinterest and I thought, oh, that's so cool. Unfortunately, I don't remember their name. But, so I apologize for that. But they're not a Stampin' Up person, so I'll forgive myself. Okay, so I'm gonna run this through my die cut. Okay, I'm gonna run this through my embossing machine. Give me 1 second. Got it right here. Just have to make sure I keep that tip top and bottom. Put all the plates on here. I chose an embossing folder that was the same plates as my die cut so that I didn't have to get crazy. All right, so I ran it through. It looks just like this. Okay, now I wanted to dazzle you. That's why I brought the plates back over. All right, so I'm going to remove that square, and it's got stripes on it. Now we have this stripe. We're gonna glue that directly onto that panel. And then we have that diamond cut out. So what we're gonna do with the diamond, a little bit fancy. All right. Now, we could just put that in there and pop it up, but we're actually going to turn it around so that the negative white space is on this side and that's on that side. Okay, but I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm gonna put that piece on dimensionals. So we're gonna put this berry burst panel, which I thought I had a scrap of. Apparently I didn't. Ooh. And then we'll glue that directly onto the front of our card. I always have Daffodil Delight card bases. I'm not sure why, but I always do. All right, now we're gonna flip this around and we're gonna glue it in like that, but I'm gonna pop it up. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on dimensionals. I'm gonna put it in the opposite direction, and it fits right into that space, so you know exactly where it goes. And that blue line starts right at the edge of the other one. All right, now this one I don't have the right, I'm not sure what happened to my throat, but it is making me a little crazy. I don't have any of the embellishments that are those colors, so I'm actually going to use the iridescent and faceted gems for this because they kind of pick up other colors. And just add a little bit of shine. And like I said, this could also be any color, any different shade, shades of one color. It could be multiples. It could be so many things. And then the stripes are in a different order. But isn't that fun? Just do it could be a circle. It could be a square. You could turn it, you could have been a square straight, not in a diamond shape. Could have been super fun, anything. So I got rid of some of those 1/2 inch strips that I've been wondering what in the world to do with. So we have our 1/2 inch strips that I cut in half to make quarters. We have just the scraps of DSP that I found in my package. And then we have the smaller pieces of cardstock that I found in my stash as well. So many fun things you can do with scraps and the pieces, and you can do, you know, any embossing folder, any die cut, any direction of your designer series paper. So thank you for watching. Don't forget that there is the two-tone cardstock sale and online bingo on July 26th, and I will put the order link for that as well. So hope that you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you back here next Wednesday at 1:30.